Okay, welcome back, dear viewers. Today I'm going to take a break from talking about um, Lamentations of the Flame Princess and talk about a Call of Cthulhu set of scenarios that I've been running for a couple years now. The most recent one last weekend with my in-person gaming group, our annual Halloween game, and that is the Grindhouse by Alex Giat and Ian Christensen. These guys have been pumping these out for the past couple of years, and they're just absolutely fantastic. And I wanted to essentially chat about them for a bit. They're just wonderful little horror scenarios for Call of Cthulhu. So, for what I like about this product and the layout. The very back, the last page, they have this nice little definition of the grindhouse. It kind of helps set the stage for what you know you're going to be doing with these modules. In a nutshell, that's what they are. The grindhouse style horror game that uses the Call of Cthulhu rule set. They currently have out a Ultimate Collection. You get volumes 1 through 3 with an additional scenario. I believe it's $8.95 at drive-through. Something totally worth checking out. And before anybody asks, that image is was made by Midjourney. I typed in the famous Call of Cthulhu phrase, and the AI generated that. So make that of make what you will out of that. It's kind of scary, I guess. I don't know. All right, so volumes 1 through 3 can be purchased individually. They're 250 a piece, and you get two one-shot scenarios per volume. What I think is brilliant about sort of the setup is they're designed as double features, as if you were going to a grindhouse movie theater. It's fun. It's just fun. They're standalone one shots, or you can insert them into a campaign. It's totally possible to do that. Each scenario comes with pre-gens for the scenario, and I think the strength of these products is actually that they're perfect for new lore keepers. You don't really need a lot of experience to play them. Um, I don't play Call of Cthulhu all that often. Like I mentioned, it's pretty much like once a year on Halloween, maybe a couple of times during the year as a player, as opposed to a lore keeper. So these products was perfect for me. Um, as a double feature, each scenario is designed to be completed in one evening. So if you think about it, for 250, you're getting 2 sessions. Uh, Perfect. I mean, the price point's wonderful. Each scenario has each volume, I should say, has the inspirational movies that's sort of like the appendix N for the Grindhouse. I certainly put a bunch on my list to watch, and the writing is really good. Each scenario really feels like they researched and tapped into the kind of horror movies from the 70s and 80s. Um, and you just it's just really good. It's just so well done. One in particular is one of my personal favorites, and I'll talk about that later. Um, they really they did their research to make it feel authentic, and it's great. It helps with the immersion. It's wonderful. Um, yeah, so I use these for Halloween one shots, and they're perfect for them. My buddies, we're my in-person gaming group. We're a little bit more beer and pretzels type gamers. So we're having laughs, and the joke every Halloween is, how many players am I going to kill this year? And they have a good time with these, especially because they get a sense of not only the movies that these are derived from, but they get to play something different because we usually play Dungeons and Dragons, um, and they get to play like normal people with like normal skills and try to survive a horrific scenario. Um, I, these can be fit into a typical Call of Cthulhu campaign. I maybe shouldn't say they can be a bit slow. I have yet to actually be in a long-term Call of Cthulhu game, but it's been my experience that you're doing a lot of investigating and researching and uncovering the horrors that are behind whatever plot, that you're engaging in. I think the Grindhouse volumes can easily sort of change things up, shake them up for your players, give them something new to do, certainly add a level of danger and fun, uh, and maybe kind of pick up the pace for a bit, or give them a break from all the investigating, you know. So, uh, which takes me to the pre-gens. So the pre-gens are built like they would be characters in a typical Grindhouse movie. They do not have any real experience with the undead, cosmic horror or anything like that. There may be someone who dabbles in mysticism or something in like some sort of cheeky sort of I like using meditation crystals kind of way, but they're not investigators. Uh, for lore keepers, especially new lore keepers, this actually helps you because you're not dealing with someone who's going to be able to just roll and figure things out. They're going to be sort of hamstrung as like normies facing the undead or facing some sort of horror mutant thing coming out of the basement, and they certainly aren't going to have too many combat abilities either. What I like about these pre-gens too is they come with backgrounds, skills, personality quirks. So if you have players who really like hamming it up, maybe play the thespian at your table, they have something to work with. Um, and again, they fit perfectly for like a one-shot horror movie. Established investigators, though, I think will have a little easier time because they're going to have the skill and the experience to uncover what's going on and maybe even you know defeat it or overcome whatever's happening. But again, if you want to shake things up for your ongoing Call of Cthulhu game, this is still a good uh, series to look into. Which takes me to, I think, the strength of these modules. Perfect for beginning lore keepers. And it comes down to the way these um, modules are basically organized. There's 7 sections: the prelude, objectives, secrets, cast, signs, threats, and changes. Probably for your more experienced lore keeper, this is a no-brainer. For me, it was sort of like a flash of insight. I uncovered a hidden truth of Call of Cthulhu almost, because I had been playing since I don't know 2015, running these one shots, and I was making my own, trying my damnedest to come up with something cool, but having a hard time really designing something that's mysterious and horrific. And the 7 sections, as they're organized, actually has given me a better idea of how to do my own homebrew stuff in the future. Um, yeah, each section is just helpful to run the scenario if you're a beginner. So 250 for a double feature that will help you become a better lore keeper. I mean, the value of this product is just going up in my mind. So Prelude, its overall description of the setting, mood, and tone of the scenario. It's deliberately vague, so you can kind of do what you want if you're an experienced lore keeper trying to put this into a pre-existing game. The objectives are just basically why the characters are there for the one-shots and give you some background for how to fit it into the existing game. The secret section is really what's going on. What malevolent entity is driving the plot, what cultists are really out to get, that sort of thing. Um, Pretty straightforward. The cast section gives you NPCs that can be included in the scenario. Sometimes they're insignificant NPCs, they're just sort of there. Other times they are, I would say, minor-ish characters, because really the module is supposed to be focused on the players and their characters. But these NPCs that come in can help advance the plot in some way or help set the mood. In one of them, there's a police officer who might help the characters, and it's suggested that he gets killed after he tries to help the characters. And if you think about it, that happens in the movies a lot, doesn't it? You know, it's a really smart NPC to put in to the scenario. Threats, that's the bad guys, traps, hazards, things that's going to happen to the players. And then changes. This is actually a really good section. When it's time to shake things up, this section provides encounters and options to use to, well, shake things up. As if the players are stuck, or they seem to be doing okay, and they're like, maybe they're taking a breather and you want to ramp up the tension again. These the things in the changes section are essentially tools for you to use. You don't have to use them, but they're tools for you to use to sort of ramp up the tension, shake things up, and move the plot along for your game. One scenario in particular uses this section, like, it just uses this section beautifully, and I'll talk about that in a minute. All right, so Volume 1 has the Crimson King and Isle of the Damned. The Crimson King is my favorite one because it takes place in a goth club. So it's like what, 1978, 81, something like that. There's all these references to Sisters of Mercy, Bauhaus, and there's some really wonderful images in there of like classic goth look, and the characters in there are like the artist, the musician, the writer and poet. It really, it feels like, you know, like you're heading to CBGB's on Goth Night. It's pretty cool. I ran this double feature last in 2021. My players just, they had a blast. They had a blast with this volume. Isle of the Damned takes place on an island. It's a little cross between like Reanimator and Evil Dead. There's a shack, and well, stuff's happening in there. And again, the characters, the pre-gens feel like, they're just a bunch of guys getting together to do some fishing, an annual fishing trip on this island. So another fun scenario. Um, oh, that should say Volume 2. Oh, well. Anyway, Volume 2 has the Dark Brood and Jackknife. I ran this last weekend, and it was a lot of fun. Jackknife, I actually helped play test. Jackknife takes place on a truck. The whole adventure is on a big rig, and that's the scenario that uses the changes section to its fullest. A lot of fun. That's like a high octane adventure. I mean, it just does not stop once the horror begins. Dark Brood was a lot of fun. Takes place at a camp, and everyone's camp counselors. So, again, tapping into those tropes and having some fun with them. And then Volume 3, oh, that typo just won't go away. Uh, I haven't yet to play these two, Hell Block 5 and First Night. Hell Block 5 takes place in a prison, and First Night takes place at a sorority house. So in prior modules, players can essentially choose their gender or whatever. In this one, you're sort of limited. Like, so I wouldn't say limited, but Hell Block 5, you're a bunch of guys in a prison. You really can't have a mix of genders there. And the sorority house, you're all, chicks, women, a sorority girls, right? So that they look fun. Like I said, I haven't had a chance to play them yet. And the Grindhouse Ultimate Collection includes all three of the prior volumes plus an additional scenario that I have yet to run as well. That one involves the kids going into like a train station to smoke some weed, and something happens. It takes place in 1984. I can't help but think it is a horror, splatterhouse horror version of Stranger Things, which would be cool. But anyway, so my final thoughts. Okay, if you're a fan of horror gaming and you like Call of Cthulhu, you're gonna like these. They're just fun. They're just fun. They, like I said, they change things up for your players. They're just in your face, and if you're a big fan of horror, you'll be able to pick out the tropes that they're having fun with. Total refreshing change of pace for what you might be typically doing. Uh, like I said, my in-person gaming group, we play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and this is just something completely different and a wonderful evening of just blood, guts, and laughter, as morbid as that might sound. And depending on what you want to spend your money on, I mean, it is totally worth the price of admission. I mean, I totally recommend purchasing these. They're only available in PDF, I believe. I think the Ultimate Collection might be close to being pay on demand. I don't know, but that the whole shebang is worth it. So um, I would recommend it 100%. So well, that's it. Short video. For those of you who are kind of new to my channel, I run games. I try to record them so you can see me running them if you're into that sort of thing, and then I talk about them. I'm not a big fan of the flip through review. Some people get something out of them. I don't. I'd rather talk to someone who's played them, and so I'm trying to talk to you. And if that's your thing, hit like and subscribe, bell icon, yada yada yada. I have a blog. I'm on Twitter. Find me there. I'm always chit chatting about games and random stuff that I'm thinking about. I have an ongoing Thursday night actual play using Lamentations of the Flame Princess and Gary Gygax's classic Village of Hamlet and Temple of Elemental Evil. If that's your thing, check that out. Otherwise, happy gaming, everyone, and until next time.